when I read that, it was interesting to me that they would be setting up Arbor Day, and we got a war going on. In 1945, the Florida legislature adopted the third Friday in January as Florida's official Arbor Day. So we go back, third Friday, we go back a long ways. Florida Arbor Day observance is the third Friday in January, one of the earliest in the country. We take advantage of the trees for planting during January and February. Trees can be planted and moved to new locations with the best chance of surviving transplant shock during those months. And Thomas Henry has already planted our tree. If you have a chance to go to Isabel Lake, it is already there. I will talk to you about watering. But anyway, we can get the spigot there doesn't work. I tried it, but you got a lake there. Right? I'll talk to you. I can be there. But anyway, what do trees mean to Florida? The forests of Florida are among the most valuable assets Floridians have. Trees are a renewable resource, a unique wealth. Florida's forests provide more than 5,000 products. And by products and support a $16.3 billion industry, including 80,000 full and part-time jobs. This economic value is important as well as the human value and priceless benefits that we receive from the forest. And then he goes into all the benefits of trees, which I think, all know the benefits of trees. And he ends up with this. Friday is Florida's official Arbor Day. If you are unable to observe Arbor Day on January the 20th, you can still have an Arbor Day observance by simply planting a tree. Whether you plant a shade tree or a fruit tree, whether you plant a forest or a single tree, each and every tree which is planted stands as a living reminder that we are stewards of the land. Thank you. Okay, Mike.
I've got to admit, I don't know a whole lot about Arbor Day, but I know about Paul Witt. So that's my part.
That's why you're here.
And I want to thank the Beautification Committee because I'm just ecstatic and very proud to be part of this. Paul was a tremendous person. And I know most of you here knew Paul as Dr. Paul Witt. He had an animal clinic for 50-something years, and that is true, and he was a great veterinarian. I want to tell Betty this, where she'll know when he was so kind to Daryl, he was actually scouting Daryl for the Bulldogs. Paul was a consummate scout, I promise you. But, you know, there's so many kids, there's so many people, there's so many grown-ups now that knew Paul Witt simply as coach. And there literally hundreds went through the program that Paul was part of. The thing that really excited me when I had an opportunity to work with Paul in coaching, because Paul must have coached 25 or 30 years, and I was able to participate with him about 20 of those years. The thing that really excited me was how dedicated and what Paul's leadership and that group of gentlemen at that time created. That was not a county or a city program. It was a program, and it was privately funded by donations and sponsorships. So they had to go out and convince people to put the money into it. And the difference then and now was when a kid signed up to play football, all he had to bring was his shoes. Everything else was furnished by that program. So it did not eliminate anybody. I mean, that's the way it was. The only thing I learned that took me a little bit by surprise, that it was a 12-month 52-week job. And that's in Paul's eyes. Because when we wasn't playing football, we were scouting for people that could play football. That's the way he was. But honestly, on September the 15th, I lost a good friend. And this community lost a pioneer in a lot of ways. Paul created, or was part of creation, and under his leadership, they created a program that was recognized in the state of Florida. I mean, it wasn't something that just was Lake City, it was the whole state. We had kids that had never been out of town before, never been out of Lake City, Florida. They were taken to Miami, to Atlanta, to Leesburg, to Jacksonville, 100% paid for. And to see the joy in those kids' eyes, the amazement, it was really great. And it took a lot of work and dedication for someone to be able to create this. I never forget, we were in Leesburg at a tournament that we were playing in, and these were overnight trips. Sometimes we'd stay as many as 2 or 3 nights, and it was 100% paid for. And that was through the merchants of this town. We were in Leesburg, though, and it was our last night, and we had not spent quite as much money as we thought we would, so we went to one of the Corral steakhouses or something, I can't remember. And as we was going through the line, the kids, they were looking at all these things they could get. And we said, get what you want. Well, bless their heart, they did. Some of them come out with 2 plates. And I'm thinking, there's no way they need this. So what money we had left, we spent before we left there. Paul was just he was a great person. He meant an awful lot to the people of this community. And I know that Paul's private life, he was a veterinarian. But I do know that Paul's heart, he was a youth football coach. And he committed to that, and he made so many times, and I think he did so much for so many people. His theory, his motto was that if you work real hard and you tried every day, that you'd be better for it. And I know that that's transposed and has went on into different people that played for Paul under his leadership. It gives them that grit they need. And sometimes I think we lose some of that. But you didn't lose it if you played for the Bulldogs, I promise you. That's just the way it was. So I've already mentioned we had quite a few trips that we went out of town, and we just had a really good time. There was a group of kids, actually coaches we met one time, and excuse me, I should have left that thing on. We had a group that used to come down from, if I remember right, Illinois, of all places, and they would come, they would travel down and they would play football games to help generate some income because they was taking the kids to Disney World. Well, we played them for probably 6 straight years, right here at the stadium, and it was quite a gathering, and it's something again that the kids that I won't ever forget, because I met people that I would have never met, and I got where I knew them pretty darn good. And I know that coach, he told me one day, he said, look, I thought y'all went on an age group. He said, these kids have been playing for the last 6 years. They're not supposed to be here. We said, we know how you Yankees are, so we have to look out for ourselves. But I want to tell you once again that I thank you so much for letting me be part of this. And I want to tell you once again that I love that man right there. And nothing could be better than a tree. And I was thinking about this because Paul was an awful strong individual, and it grew every year. He got stronger and stronger and better and better. And I envision these branches as they go out, the leaves that'll sprout is all the kids he worked with. Bless his heart. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Rick, you come forward.